In the previous installment of this retrospective, we saw how Big Boss earned his title, and how he became a legend in the Black Ops world. He defeated Volgin and prevented World War III. He also defeated every remaining member of the Cobras, and finally he was forced to kill the boss, his mentor, and a woman that was very much like his mother. Snake did not accept the name of Big Boss. He knew he was just a pawn in a big political game. It was decided that another person on Kojima's crew, Masahiro Yamamoto, would direct the next game in the story, while Hideo Kojima would co-produce the game alongside Noriaki Akamura. The game's title was Metal Gear Solid Portable Operations, because it would be the first canonical title to be on the PlayStation Portable, and the game would take place 6 years after Operation Snake Eater in MGS3, where Snake's former unit of Fox has went rogue and broken their allegiance with the CIA. They also target Snake and capture him. The CIA believes that Snake is involved with the sudden act of treason, but in reality he is actually thrown into a prison on the San Geronimo Peninsula in northern South America. There in the prison he meets a young Roy Campbell, the very same Roy Campbell that would later become Solid Snake's commanding officer during the events of Metal Gear Solid. Roy explains to Snake where they are. They are on a Russian military base that was constructed directly south of Cuba after the Cuban Missile Crisis, and Fox had recently taken over the entire base, convincing all of the soldiers there to join them. The soldiers were easily persuaded to join Fox. They were not supposed to be there, and their country had forgotten about them after all. They had no contact with their families, no supplies were sent. They were left there to die as Russia's dirty little secret. There was a new weapon being developed there, a new type of Metal Gear, and Snake had to stop it with the help of Roy Campbell and the radio help of Sigint and Paramedic. Paramedic looks very similar to someone else we know in the Metal Gear universe. It is my theory that Paramedic is actually Meryl's mother, but that's just a theory. Snake also has the help of soldiers he recruits to fight for him. Snake can drag them back to the truck where the mission starts, and then they can join Snake's side and be put into various different sections such as fighters or technology or medical staff. Each soldier has different skills that are shown on a graph so that they can be efficiently placed in the job that would suit them best. Over time, the soldiers can develop new weapons and items that can be used to fight against Fox. Fox was threatening the motherland of the soldiers on the base, and they would start an all-out nuclear war, so Snake and Campbell had to stop them. Snake would have to take them out one by one until he got to the leader of the insurrection, Gene. The first member of Fox that Snake met was while he was still in the prison cell in the very beginning. Cunningham, Fox's interrogation expert, a strong man with a prosthetic leg. He demands Snake give up the other half of the Philosopher's legacy because in reality America had only gotten half of the legacy, and the other half was still unaccounted for. And he believed that Snake knew where it was, and he was there to find out what Snake knew. You would later fight him while he pilots a more advanced and weaponized version of the hovercraft from Metal Gear Solid 3, and it is later discovered that he is actually working for the Pentagon. However, the first actual boss fight of the game is with a former friend of Snake's, Python. The two of them had fought together in Vietnam several years prior, but while they were there, Python suffered an injury that left him unable to regulate his body temperature. He was extracted by the US government and he was put into a suit that contained liquid nitrogen to help keep his body cold, and they even surgically implanted metal shunts into his skull to relieve excess heat. Python has the ability to freeze things by releasing the liquid nitrogen from his suit out into the environment around him, flash freezing anything it comes in contact with. Pretty much if you cross Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat with Pinhead from Hellraiser, you get Python from Portable Ops. Then there are the Psychic Twins, Elisa and Ursula. Elisa is a doctor and a captain. She's in charge of monitoring the perfect soldier, and she actually helps Snake. Ursula is also a captain, and she is the exact opposite of her sister. She is highly trained both physically and with her psychic abilities. She is Snake's enemy. However, there is more than meets the eye with these two. Elisa and Ursula are actually one and the same. Elisa gained her psychic abilities after a nuclear disaster, after which she was raised in a lab in East Germany. There she was tested upon with the intent of strengthening her abilities, but it didn't do just that. It also split her personality into two, like yin and yang, one good and one bad. Elisa and Ursula. Ursula later fights Snake while she pilots Metal Gear Raja, a hovering Metal Gear that looks very different from any other Metal Gear model. However, after defeating her, it is discovered that Metal Gear Raja is just a prototype, and that there is another, more advanced version, and that Metal Gear is the real threat, but I'll talk more about that later. Then there was the Perfect Soldier, the one that captured Snake in the first place. Null, the perfect soldier without a name. He was highly trained, wielding a sword and fighting hand to hand. However, the soldier did have a name, and Snake knew it. Snake had met a child years earlier while he was in Mozambique. The perfect soldier, Null, was actually Frank Yeager, the man that would later become Gray Fox. Then there was the leader of this insurrection, Gene. He was selected to participate in the Successor Project, a military project that would mold him into being the ultimate military commander. His training was designed to make him more like another great commander. He was built to be like the boss. Gene developed certain abilities. He developed an enhanced version of the boss's CQC, and he also developed the ability to enhance his voice, allowing him to kind of brainwash people by speaking to them. With these abilities, he became a very powerful commander indeed. Gene's intention was to launch Metal Gear, and when it landed, it would release its payload of miniature nuclear warheads onto its target, killing thousands and possibly starting World War III. Snake must fight him and put an end to his nefarious plans, and he does just that. After defeating Gene, he gives Snake a microfilm containing all the funds he had acquired to create his new world. But as for Metal Gear, it is too late, and the launch is already underway. Snake must shoot rockets to destroy the Metal Gear at the top of the rocket, but his weaponry isn't enough to stop the launch. Then he is joined by the soldiers that he had recruited along his mission. Snake had risked his life to defend their motherland, so now they wanted to return the favor. Metal Gear launched and made it into the atmosphere, but they soon discovered that their combined firepower was enough to destroy the Metal Gear, thus averting a nuclear disaster. Snake now had a large sum of money and a small army to stand behind him, but he still had a long way to go. However, there was much more going on behind the scenes. After the confirmation of the launch of Metal Gear, a familiar face confronts a man being escorted down a hallway in Washington. The man is the Director of Central Intelligence. Ocelot is there to take back the other half of the Philosopher's Legacy, because those he worked for had the first half. He was there to obtain the funds to create the Patriots, a new group of people that would control the world, a new world, a world that the boss had envisioned. Many fans of the series scoffed at this entry. They thought it was inferior to Hideo Kojima's work, and many argued that it wasn't even canonical to the story. However, in 2014, about 8 years after the release of Portable Apps, Hideo Kojima answered the question in an interview, "Is Portable Apps canon?" Yes. However, there are certain details that are incorrect. As for what those details are, I don't know. And though this is one of the least popular entries in the series, and I had only previously beaten the game once, after researching for this video, I have a newfound appreciation for Portable Apps. The only thing I didn't like about it, however, were the controls. Those definitely needed some improvement. Join me next time to see Metal Gear go back to the future.